Hello and welcome to Never Cookie Cutter Commentator News. I'm your host, Ukrainian Limbs. Our top story, the debut of Call of Duty Black Ops, has sparked a flurry of debate. Is the game the best Call of Duty yet? Has sniping been sabotaged too far? Is Ice Cube really a sergeant in the Marine Corps? Well, one thing that won't sneak into most discussions is the reintroduction of Second Chance, a variation of the Last Stand perk. While you'll inevitably encounter a player using Last Stand or Second Chance in most Call of Duty lobbies, the majority of players are unaware of the origin of the perk. Well, after the moderate success of Call of Duty 3, game developers realized that they weren't achieving their true potential, and they were failing to cater to a certain demographic of gamers. After a thorough research, they found that they were missing out on the extremely profitable segment known as douchebags. Through extensive R&D, they carefully engineered something to seize this market, something capable of irritating gamers worse than bedtime. They called it Last Stand. It gave douchebags the ability to die twice and to annoy the crap out of other players. Suddenly, Call of Duty 4 was the biggest craze in the gaming community, achieving record sales and raving reviews. You'd think that the makers would have been more than satisfied. But still, the developers found that they were missing a special breed of douchebag, one that remained unattracted to the game. After holding focus groups and conducting surveys of a statistically significant portion of the douchebag population, they found one group was greatly underrepresented in the Call of Duty community. That group was gay douchebags. Turning once again to their talented game developers, they evolved Last Stand to not only appeal to douchebags, but to gay douchebags as well. With the release of World at War, Second Chance made it possible for players to be douchebags and to help fellow players be douchebags as well. The idea of having to be killed twice resonated well with the douchebag community, and the concept of helping another man while he was on his back attracted the gay douchebags as well. Unfortunately, they soon realized they had created a monster. With a reputation for housing homosexual douchebaggery, World at War struggled and had meager commercial success relative to Call of Duty 4. Going back to the drawing board, they engineered their greatest monstrosity yet. With the fragile situation at hand, they had to continue offering Last Stand to appeal to douchebags, and while the ability to revive other men attracted gay douchebags, it turned off most heterosexual players. That's when a brilliant intern by the name of Chester O'Houlihan made a striking discovery. Gay gamers release pheromones through their anuses. They harnessed this knowledge to create a prototype of Last Stand that would appeal to gay douchebags without scaring away other players. Modern Warfare 2 brought the innovation that was the crawling Last Stand. It allowed down players to scoot about the floor like a woman giving birth while being carried by a posse of zombie tortoises. But the brilliance behind it was that it allowed gay douchebags to spread their pheromones across the map as they scooted along the ground. This way, other gay douchebags could smell where they were located and come help you as you scooted to safety. This balance worked quite well and seemed to keep all parties satisfied, so we'd assume that it would remain the same with the release of Black Ops, but that was not the case. After a successful edition of Last Stand was created, why go back to incorporating the Second Chance perk that failed World at War? This peculiar choice has one particular community outraged.
People think these are just maps, just little playgrounds where you could make a mess and never have to worry about cleaning it up. But at the end of the day, someone has to be there to clean up all that shit. And yes, I do mean shit, because when you get shot, the shock releases your bowels. And it's like the worst diarrhea you'll ever have.
Usually you don't see it because it just gets absorbed into the clothes and it blends in with the camouflage. But when you go down in Last Stand, you squish the feces through and it permeates the fibers of the garment, leaving behind a stain on the ground. I mean, that's when the sanitation experts like myself step in to clean up your mess. When this all started in Call of Duty 4, we had our share of cleanups, don't get me wrong. You get a couple of splotches here and there, but nothing too serious. Then they introduced Second Chance in World at War, and you people could create multiple splotches in a single life. The janitorial community was outraged, but still, we cleaned up your mess. But then, Modern Warfare 2, that took it too far. To allow players to make splotches and then smear them across the ground as they drag their tainted butts across the floor, that was an outrage. We went on strike, but then they just threatened to replace us with Cambodian migrant workers. Now, I have a family to support. Not really, but I have some small fishes, and I'll be damned if I can't afford to feed them every day. So I've kept working, and it's only gotten worse. Now with Black Ops, Second Chance Pro allows you to crawl and be revived by anyone. So people can smear their feces along the ground, get revived, and do it all over again. We're going to go on strike again, and if they threaten us with the Cambodian migrants, I'll simply quit. This job just isn't worth it to me anymore. I look back on when I started being a janitor during the days of Call of Duty 2, and I had to pick up some shell casings here and there, but, I was so young and naive. I could have never imagined it would come to this.
Wow, a truly tragic story that joins that of thousands of other janitors, struggling to cope with the reality that is Black Ops Second Chance. Well, perhaps we'll all think of Janitor Spooge when we create our next class, and even if we choose to continue using Second Chance, maybe we'll crawl around just a tad bit less with the image of his dying feces in our mind. I'm Ukrainian Limbs, and on behalf of NCCC News, have a splendid evening.